Humans are neither vegan nor carnivore. And I will explain why. But before I get into that, subscribe, like, share, all of that stuff. Check my link down below, my website. Now, look, if you just observe, forget about all the research, forget about all sorts of research, forget about everything, and just do this. All right, what type of person, what kind of people were we before civilization? We were hunter-gatherers. We know this. That's a fact. All right? So, do we have hunter-gatherers today? Yes. All right. And when we observe hunter-gatherers today, do we have any vegan hunter-gatherers? No. Do we have any carnivore hunter-gatherers? No. We have a mixture always of both. Humans are omnivores. I know it's not as sexy, but it's the truth. It's the truth. So, and the truth, of course, you know, you can discuss if it is plant-based or if it's, you know, we shouldn't say based. We should say if it's like 80% or 90% plants, or if it's 80%, 90% animal products or produce. Now look, we know for a fact what Neanderthals ate, all right? And we're very close to Neanderthals. And we were pretty similar to Neanderthals. There was basically no difference, you know, they had intercourse with each other, we probably killed them and probably had sex with them as well. So, because we know that we know that Europeans have more Neanderthal in their DNA. Now, and we know for sure this because they've found, you know, they've analyzed what has been in, you know, I don't remember if it's stomach, but I'll see if I can look up the article about this again. But we know for a fact that Neanderthals ate 80% animal products, which can mean, you know, it's meat and, you know, organs, probably, you know, fat from animals as well, and perhaps even milk. But I doubt that because usually just went out and hunted. I mean, you gotta imagine yourself in this era, all right? We can't just imagine our current state here. We gotta imagine ourselves being in this time. But don't think that they were stupid. They were very intelligent. Perhaps even more intelligent than Homo sapiens. I believe they had bigger brains. Now, look, and we know that 80% was from animals and 20% was from plants. Now, the thing is, we don't know exactly what this means with plants, but my theory is that they ate fruits, mainly fruits, perhaps some roots, perhaps some nuts, nut seeds. And it's actually called nut seeds because it's a seed, you're eating the seed. And you're not eating a nut, the nut itself, and it's actually a fruit. It's a dry fruit. We know that, you know, cavemen, they ate, you know, roots, nuts, and fruits, and so forth. So, and they barely ate, you know, perhaps they would have eaten some stems and leaves every so often. But I highly doubt it's their main, you know, staple food. The same way for Neanderthals, it is like 80% animal products. Also, we have a different argument as well that goes against veganism, which is the very fact that you have to supplement with B vitamins means that there is something missing in this diet. All right, so I'm all about natural on this channel. All right, it's all about all natural and removing clutter, and we only keep what's at the core of the human being. So of course, so we gotta have both, you know. And that's why I'm a huge fan of fruits, because it hydrates us. It's not like we always found rivers. Well, perhaps, you know, that's why they always settled close to rivers, because, you know, you always have water, which is the smartest thing to do. But sometimes, you know, those rivers dried out. So, and they relied on fruits, and most likely they just hunted and collected some fruits and hunted for meat. And we know this from observance from today's hunter-gatherers, all right? There is not a single hunter-gatherer that's vegan, and there is not a single hunter-gatherer that's purely carnivore either. We're not carnivore, we're not vegan, we're omnivores, all right? That's why we're highly adaptable. That's why we're so great. That's why we created civilization. That's why we started eating rice and so forth. Now, obviously, that's also when, you know, our oral health and stuff like that, and health in general, actually deteriorated in some sense, in a lot of sense, but it's also the only way you can sustain a civilization on that scale. It's a different scale to small tribes. It's not the same thing. I understand that perhaps not everyone can do this, but you know, we're not here for everyone. We're here for the greats. We're not looking for mediocrity here. We're looking for the most effective, the strength, flexible, you know, in terms of diet, in terms of fasting, in terms of training, meditation, everything. And also being natural, because the body wants it natural. It cannot, you know, I don't believe that pills are as good, you know, of course vegans can absorb pills. I believe, you know, it depends. There are some studies showing, I think, that they can't quite absorb these pills. But, you know, just from an evolutionary standpoint, you know, it's quite obvious to me that the body best absorbs through natural means, because we are natural creatures. And I'm not saying that natural, you know, I'm not going with a natural fallacy here, all right? Because the natural fallacy can also become a fallacy in of itself. I'm not saying that arsenic, you know, it's great, but actually, in some sense, actually, by the principle of hormesis, you know, you can actually get used to arsenic, you know, in small quantities, and then you increase increase that amount, and you will get actually quite, you will get more resistant to all of this poison actually than other people. Now, that's why I don't believe in too much. You shouldn't cut out too much from modern, you know, artificial things when it comes to, you know, chemicals. In some sense, you should. In some sense, you shouldn't use antibiotics, but you should use, you know, a shampoo every so often, and sometimes you leave it off. You see a balance there. Sometimes you shower without it, and sometimes you shower with it. I mean, you know, for your hair and so forth. So I know I'm moving away from vegan and carnivore here, but I'm just trying to explain the whole natural thing here. Simply just from observing hunter-gatherers today, we know that it's neither vegan nor carnivore. It's a mixture of both. And some tribes, they are more carnivorous, or, you know, animal-based, and other tribes are more plant-based. And some are, you know, fish, and you know, some South American ones are pescatarian, basically. Some islanders. But the thing is, you know, and you see, we have different regions. So, you know, there are universals. That's why I speak of, you know, my own diet, which I will release soon in a course. I'm working on it today. I'm actually going to do that right after this. So, and I'm going to explain to you not just the reasoning, because I'm going to give you first the practical stuff, so you can immediately start with the diet, the exact diet I'm eating, all right? And I've tried different, variations and so forth. I will give you a bunch of variations. I will continually update this. So it's not like once you buy this, it will just stay the same. I will continually update all of these things. And as I improve as well, I always improve. I'm not claiming that I'm perfect, but I've gone through different stages, many different stages now. So you got to understand that we evolve from different regions at different times. So we have a genetic component to this as well. So you can't just go, yeah, we should be all vegan, or yeah, we should all be carnivore. That's why I always talk about self-experimentation so that you can find your diet. That's the whole purpose of my course, and my whole philosophy. The course is just my philosophy in terms of in the practical sense, so that people can apply it. We all come from all these different places, and so there is no universal diet because of this, because nature is not perfect. All right, there is no such thing as perfection. I always talk about this. So you see, we're adaptable creatures. That is what life is. Adaptation, pure adaptation. Well, nothing is pure, but almost pure adaptation. At the core, we are adaptation. Because we can also see the mechanisms in our body. The reason we have glyconeogenesis, for example, is that we could eat a lot of protein and still get glucose. But we still have glucose. You see, we still have the ape part of us, because we're still apes. We are apes, of course we are, but we're not the same as other apes. We can't just claim that because we're apes, we should eat like other apes. We're not the same. We're hominids. The reason why we're different, we are here. That's one of the reasons why we're here, because we adapted to both things and many things. Fruits, nuts, roots. We could eat anything, basically. We eventually could eat a bunch of things, then eventually rice, but that's agriculture. But there is an important thing about rice and agriculture, and when this starts, because as soon as agriculture starts, we can see that Cro-Magnon and our human Homo sapiens ancestors, the closest, virtually we're the exact same as the cavemen. We're physiologically, physically, basically the same. When you observe their teeth and oral health, you can actually see that they had perfect teeth, basically. The only difference is that they perhaps had more plaque. Civilization started in Middle East, so they are the first that, their genes were first to adapt to this kind of lifestyle. Their genes were first to adapt, and their genes got relaxed when it comes to, genes relax and change through generations from, environmental pressures. That is exactly what evolution is. It is all about genes and environment and the pressures between these and the dynamic between these. That is all it is. So, and we gotta realize this, but we also, in my philosophy here, we also realize that we don't want to be mediocre either. So you always have the element of non-mediocrity, but also the ancestral evolutionary thing. We have the ancestral evolutionary, but we combine it with, for example, like a Spartan mentality, all right? So we have both. So this I like ancient wisdom, but we take the best from ancient wisdom. We don't just collect everything. We'll collect everything, we filter out, you see, aesthetic, and we keep what's pure and human and, not pure, but what is human. We're neither vegan and neither are we completely carnivores. We are omnivores. So, like I always say, you are your mind and body, nothing else. Focus on yourself and improve yourself, or get to your higher desire and focus on your dreams and cut out all the nonsense you don't need. And I will see you tomorrow.